So, yes, it is possible to grow your business while also growing the quality of your personal life. Today, with us is PWT mentor expert and international coach Yvonne Dam, joining us from Spain. So, let's get to it.
Empowering women on a global scale. Welcome to Powerful Women Today with Carolina Billings. Powerful Women Today is on a mission of inclusion, rewriting his story to include her story, and empowering, raising, and amplifying women's voices with professional speaking, publishing, original podcasting, and web TV. And now here's your host, the founder of Powerful Women Today, Carolina Billings.
Hi, Yvonne. So good to see you.
Hi, it's my pleasure to be here.
So you are international woman of mystery. So I love the way that you position your brand. Because in today's day, right, we really need to think global brands, global markets. There is such an abundance. There's just an abundance. So it's all about connecting the dots while not losing ourselves in the process, which is your key sauce, your secret sauce. So tell our friends and audience all about your practice and what you stand for.
Right. So I'm Yvonne Dam, and my company is called Amaze Yourself. And I help driven CEOs and business owners who crave more time but want to expand their business. I help them to that next level of success while working less. And I always say to people, I want you to remember me for two words: time and champagne. I give you more time so you can live the champagne life.
I love it. I love it. Because you know what happens once you decide, once you make the conscious decision, at least this has been my journey, that you are going to, shatter that glass ceiling and be your own, the own master of your destiny, right? Once you get liftoff and you have proof of concept and this is working and is there's an addictive quality to it. And I don't know if that is just me, or do you see a lot in the go-getter, alpha type females that once you're making a difference in the world and in your world and in women world, you just become more, I want more and more and more. Is that a common trend that you see?
It's very common, and I think it's lovely, because if you feel that you can be of value, if you feel you can make an impact, it is a great thing to want to give more and to reach more. So it's very common. But what also unfortunately is very common, that we not always up level our processes, our systems, our companies, and our mindset accordingly. So what will happen is you have that burning ambition, and you can help more clients if only you had 24 extra hours in a day.
In 24 extra use. So we almost create our own little monster, right? So we left one monster behind, but we've created our own little creation, right? Which is where you come in. Because getting caught up, because I find, sorry, there's like a million thoughts trying to come out at the same time. Because once you're the driver and the catalyst, you're in control. So you can end up
Yes.
overdoing it and missing the point of wanting to have that freedom to live life on your own terms.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel that many women, and we can't generalize, but many women often feel like they need to do, they need to nurture, they need to take care of. So there is a tendency to over deliver. There's a tendency to do everything themselves and not asking for help. And then there is this burning ambition on top of it. So it's like you have this pile of wood, and we're putting gasoline on the flames continuously. But in doing so, we forget one very important thing. Like you said, we don't have 24 us, there's only one. And if you burn that person down, there's no more to give.
That's right.
So that's really important to always make sure that you look after yourself, because only if you do so, you become more productive.
Yes, there's such a journey, to be a founder, right? Because at the beginning, you're just like swimming as fast as you can, right? Then you hit, that plateau, and in a lot of people that is wonderful. They know their boundaries, right? It's like, I only work such and such because I want to take care of my kids, or I only want to do this because quality with my partner. That there's almost natural checks and balances, right? But I want to speak about the woman that maybe it's an empty nester, maybe it's an executive professional that opts to, I celebrate my, my independence, and I celebrate the fact that, I'm not affiliated to any other attachment than my, my branding, which is my solution. So I don't have those external check and balances. I really don't. And I hear myself, and every time I speak to you, right, I walk away and I keep reflecting. It's like, I think this is what Yvonne was talking about, right? So as you said, if you burn yourself out, there's no second you. So what are some of the signs that you see, in somebody beginning to overdo it, or beginning to have unrealistic expectations?
Yeah. There are several signs, and it's different for everyone, but there are some generic signs that we can all recognize. So, one of the things is that you literally feel overwhelmed. And what do I mean by that? Is you feel stressed out. For me personally, what it feels like is like I cannot stop thinking about all the things I need to do. I'm constantly thinking, there's this and there's this. And for me, a very telltale is when I start worrying about something that is like 2 months out.
Okay.
It's not you're not just thinking about, oh, I need to go to that client and that client. No, you're already worrying about things that aren't really important, but it's just you're too overwhelmed. That's a telltale. Too much in your mind. Another telltale, and I'm pretty sure many people will recognize this, is your body actually getting sick. It can be migraines, it can be a cold, it can be when there's finally weekend or finally a holiday, you get sick. It's a telltale that you're pushing yourself too hard. And basically, our body is brilliant because it's warning us you need to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
So listen to your body, because it's really a telltale that it's going on too much. And another thing that is really something you won't expect, but when you work hard and you make long hours, doesn't really matter, but you've worked, a fair amount, and you feel like, okay, I worked, let's say 10 hours today, and you come at the end of the day and you're really tired because you've just given it all. And you look at that day and you go like, I really haven't done what I should have done.
Yeah.
I really haven't done a lot, and you've just worked 10 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get up earlier tomorrow to really get some stuff done, because right now I haven't done a thing. That is a telltale that something is drastically out of balance and you need to shift some things.
And it's interesting you say that, because what I have noticed, and I'm sharing out of, hopefully resonance, if there's somebody out there that's feeling the same way, is that I put a lot of pressure on myself on my start time, right? Like I need to be getting going. It's like, it's 9 o'clock, it's 8 o'clock. It's like, if I have not started my day, I have that not quite anxiety, but there's a guilt associated with it. Meanwhile, when the clock continues past, 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, sometimes it's 10 o'clock at night, in the nights that we have an evening show, well, I would have started at 8 and we're finishing at 8, right? It's a 12-hour day. There's not that guilt at the end of the day. It's not a guilt to keep on going, right? And it's just not right. Like it's part of the conditioning, right? And I find almost setting reminders, like, go to sleep, stop working, set up a reminder on my phone, right? Like, stop working. It's been 10 hours, it's been 11 hours. And like you said, sometimes it's avoidance because we're not dealing with the things that actually need to be done. So you mentioned, which is the part that I'm so excited to discuss about, is how do we, working with someone like you is the start, but how do we manage to grow and balance at the same time? How is that possible?
It is very possible. And I'm going to make it quite simple. That doesn't say it's easy. Okay.
I like that.
But if you want to grow, you already know, and if you don't, get a coach, but you already know what you need to do to grow your company to the next level. Very often, again, to keep it simple, is you need more clients. And that can be that you're starting an online program. That can be that you are actually, group coaching, one-on-one coach. I'm just talking as a coach, but it doesn't really matter what you do. But basically, you need more clients. So you need to ask yourself, what's the quickest way to get more clients, the easiest way, and the most aligned way to how I like to do business. If you want more clients, it doesn't mean that you need to do it. Someone else can do it, right? But the thing is, what so often happens, and it doesn't really matter, I see it with my clients, it doesn't really matter what level of success they are at, whether they're making 10 million or their first 100K. So often when we think we want to grow, and this is where I want to go to, we immediately think we need to take action and we need to do it all. And that's where immediately the overwhelm starts, because we don't have extra time, we can't do it all, and it's where to begin, right? So if you want to grow, ask yourself, what do I want to achieve? More clients. How do I get there? Simple, I need to speak to more people. How many meetings do I, and I'm just making an example, right? How many meetings do I need to book in to get to that? Well, maybe I need 5 meetings a week. First thing I'm going to do is to make sure I have those 5 meetings lined up. That's it. Only once I've done that, I attend to the rest of my duties. And what I see happening again and again is people want to achieve their next level goal, but they keep stuck on activities that are their current goal. And that's why they don't grow.
I love it. I love it. So, okay, you made your breakthrough, right? You know how they always say, I don't know if you've heard this, but they always say, dress for the job that you want.
Yes.
Right? This is it. Begin to know what you need to let go of the current in order to get to the next. Because it's like having roots and wings at the same time, right?
Yes.
Like we got to let go of some of the things that are currently being done.
Yes.
And there's a financial aspect to it, right? And that means that you may need to invest in somebody in the delegation, right? Because that still needs to get done.
Yeah.
Or you need to invest in the client acquisition. But somewhere investment comes into play.
Yes.
And what I find about having conversations with someone like you, aside from the international aspect, which I think you bring an insight that many coaches do not have. Because, as we were warming up, I was saying, I think your information is extremely powerful, not just for clients, not just for like big CEOs, but also for practitioners, right?
Yes.
Because knowing that there's so much abundance, this is one of the areas that I have always, I'm surprised that I'm still surprised. And I'm trying to think of saying it in a way that I'm not tempting fate. Um, but I am surprised how many opportunities there are. I'm still surprised. Like you said, is not easy, but it is simple.
Hmm.
Simple to grow a business. It's simple to establish yourself, right? It's actually not as difficult as people think. And I'm still shocked because having spent so much time in corporate, right, with people earning a fixed amount of money, right, like the six figures seems to be the threshold between one lifestyle and the next, or one potential and the next.
Yeah.
Even CEOs, right, or in the C-suite, perhaps not a CEO, but professionals in the C-suite that reach that $150,000, $200,000, which is pretty good for somebody in the C-suite of a mid-sized company, right? I'm not speaking of the CMO of Coke, but most mid-sized companies, right?
Yeah.
We're thinking that's pretty good, but the reality is that as an entrepreneur, that is so achievable.
Yes.
It is so achievable, and we need to begin to let women know that. Instead of keeping messaging that, oh, income parity is not coming until 2030. You're right for some, right? But there are so many ways to increase your income as a practitioner and as an entrepreneur. I'm not even saying as an organization, even if you're just trying to grow your own business, right?
Hmm.
What would be some of the first areas of alignment that you would highlight for us?
So what I really see again and again is that people start doing a lot of complicated things to grow, and it makes sense because there's so much experts out there that tell you, okay, so you need more calls, you need webinars, you need podcasts, you name it to grow your business, and all the experts are right because it all worked, and most likely it worked for the person selling it. But if you look back on your business and you see what brought you the most success, maybe you are an amazing networker and you love to speak to people and people refer your business all the time. Maybe you are just amazing at client service and all your previous clients are all referring business to you. Maybe it doesn't really matter, but it really is what works for you, what comes naturally to you, and how can you do more of that. And it is, I just want to, and I think that's a great example of this. Every year, a lot of us set resolutions, right? We want to lose weight, we want to quit smoking, or what have you. It is always something that we haven't achieved yet that we want to. And I think that habit we've kind of built in our goal setting. We always, so for example, you look back and you think, well, I wasn't so great at social media. So what am I going to do? I'm going to focus on social media. I'm saying, well, that's strange. You weren't great at social media, but you were great at, getting people on a phone and converting them into clients. So instead of focusing on social media, rather focus on getting people on a phone and converting them in clients. That is what grows your business with ease. You're already doing it. You're doing it great. So how can you do more of it? That's basically what I see happening again and again. And it takes away so much noise. It lifts so many of those things that you feel like as a burden because you don't really like them. And all of a sudden it goes like, whew,
Yeah. And also, it really comes down to how much do you need?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like if if you're happy at a quarter, if your goal is $250,000, say for example, which is a lovely marker for a single practitioner,
Yes.
right? Most of us can get to the 250,000, maybe if we really push it and become a little obsessive, we can take it to that, 300,000 400,000. You start getting to that point, you're going to need infrastructure like that. I don't know if a practitioner that can do such thing on their own, right? Or at least not do it for the long
No.
term. And then the question becomes, what's the point? What's the win out of all of these, right? Because if you're making $250,000, for example, and you want to increase it to the 500,000 mark, say you want to double your business in the next 3 to 5 years, which is not unreasonable if you're really working at it, right?
Yeah.
Know that before you may have been taking home $250,000 for yourself. At 500,000, you may actually be earning less.
Yes. I love that you say that. Yes.
Right? Because you're going to need to pay people, you're going to have greater output.
Yes.
Then so knowing what is it you want is fundamental. And that's why working with someone with your qualifications, and we have a whole gallery of mentor experts of Powerful Women today, which are vetted. That's the key point, right? These are vetted and trusted professionals that can really ask those fundamental questions, because bigger is not always better. And you can grow your business top line, you can grow your business profitability wise. Your business, like there's so many ways to grow your business.
Yes.
So you are a contributor of our PWT magazine. You're one of our speakers being showcased at our upcoming summit, and definitely somebody that brings in that fuller perspective. I love the international knowledge, right? Because once you get to immerse in one particular way, one particular culture, sometimes you end up doing what everybody else is doing, not because you want to, but just because that's all you know, right? So
Yeah.
finding different ways of doing things that work in other markets is huge. It's huge. So thank you so much, Yvonne. I'm looking forward to so many more conversations and so much more of your insights. So we will put how somebody can contact you, and also let us know if you have any upcoming workshops, events. I know you have a couple of speaking engagements with us and a book that's coming up in a magazine, but anything else, do put it in the comment. And we strongly encourage you to have conversations that are outside our ecosystem, because you never know what you're going to discover.
I love it.
Thank you so much, everyone. Until next time.
Thank you.
Empowering women on a global scale. This has been Powerful Women Today with Carolina Billings. To learn more about how you can join and transform your life and the lives of women everywhere with professional speaking, publishing, podcasting, and web TV, visit powerfulwomentoday.com. Remember to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you like to listen and watch your podcasts.